On the night of February 12, 1984, a scientific radar unit locked onto a solid reflective object hovering in a Norwegian valley, and clocked it leaving at 30,000 kilometers per hour. What the radar log said about how it arrived was something no one on the team could explain. The Valley that Glows. Part 1 of 4. In the Hessdalen Valley of central Norway, nestled between steep ridgelines and thick pine forest, fewer than 150 people lived year-round in the early 1980s. The valley ran roughly 18 kilometers north to south. The winters were long, the nights were absolute, and the nearest city was hours away by road. It was not the kind of place that attracted attention. Then the lights appeared. Residents of Hessdalen began reporting unusual luminous phenomena in the valley as early as 1981. The lights were not aurora borealis. They were not aircraft. They were not reflections from the mining operations that had once run through the region. They were objects, self-luminous, structured, and moving with apparent purpose across the valley floor and above the ridgelines. The reports were so numerous and so consistent that they could not be easily dismissed. Between 1981 and 1984, residents filed over 250 separate sighting reports with local authorities. A farmer named Jarn Lillevold watched a large glowing object hover above his property for over 20 minutes one night in January 1982. He described it as brighter than any car headlight, perfectly still, then moving horizontally at a speed no aircraft at that altitude could maintain. He was not a man prone to exaggeration. He had farmed the valley his entire life. He knew what belonged in the sky above Hessdalen. This did not belong. His neighbors confirmed they had seen the same object that night. A local schoolteacher named Oddvar Skyjret reported watching a luminous object travel the full length of the valley from north to south in under 4 minutes. He estimated its length at several times that of a commercial aircraft. He had stood outside in -15 degrees Celsius to watch it complete the transit. He did not go back inside until it had vanished over the southern ridge. The sightings were not random or isolated. Residents noted that the lights appeared most frequently during the winter months, particularly between midnight and 4 in the morning. They appeared in multiple forms: single large orbs of yellow, white light, smaller clusters of red lights moving in formation, and elongated cigar-shaped luminous objects that moved slowly or hovered for extended periods before accelerating away. Some objects blinked, some pulsed, some remained perfectly steady. None of them made any sound that witnesses could detect, even when observed at close range. By 1983, the sheer volume of documented sightings had reached the attention of the scientific community in Norway. A physicist at the Oslo Military Academy named Erling Strand read the compiled reports and made a decision that was, at the time, professionally risky. He contacted colleagues at other Norwegian institutions. He proposed a formal scientific investigation of the Hessdalen phenomena, not a dismissal, not a debunking exercise, an actual field investigation using calibrated instruments. His colleagues were skeptical, but the reports kept accumulating. Strand found enough support to proceed. The project was named Project Hessdalen. Funding came from multiple Norwegian scientific institutions. Equipment was assembled: radar systems, spectrographs, cameras, seismographs, magnetometers, and radio frequency analyzers. The plan was to station a team of researchers in the valley during the peak winter period and document whatever appeared using the full suite of instruments simultaneously. The team arrived in January 1984. There were 5 researchers in the field team, working in rotating shifts around the clock. They set up observation posts at multiple points along the valley. They calibrated their equipment to detect electromagnetic emissions across multiple spectra. They were prepared to observe, measure, and record. What they were not prepared for was how often the lights would appear. In the first week alone, the research team made 19 direct observations of the phenomena. On the night of January 20, 1984, team member Leif Havik pointed a spectrograph at an object hovering above the valley floor and obtained a confirmed spectral reading. The light the object emitted had a measurable and distinct spectral signature. It was real. It was physical. And it was not anything in the team's reference database. That reading would become the first of what the researchers described as a growing pile of data they could confirm but not explain. The lights were not a social phenomenon. They were not mass delusion. They were not a hoax sustained by an entire valley population across 3 years. They were something in the physical world, something that left measurable traces on calibrated scientific instruments. And on the night of February 12, 1984, the team's radar station locked onto a target in the valley that was simultaneously visible to the naked eye as a luminous object. The radar confirmed a solid, reflective mass. The object held position for 11 minutes. Then it moved south at a speed the radar clocked at 30,000 kilometers per hour. The radar operator's log entry for that night contained one additional notation that no member of the team could account for. The object had not triggered the radar's proximity alarm on approach. It had simply appeared on the screen, already present, as if it had not moved into position at all. The researchers returned the following morning to review all instrument readings from that night, and discovered that 2 of the spectrographs had recorded data during a window when every member of the team was confirmed to be asleep. That's it for Part 1. Follow Untold Lores for Part 2. Like and subscribe for daily stories.